a lot of information tonight. And so I just want to take just a minute and introduce to you guys Jimmy Byrd. And Jimmy is the CEO and the Dean of Blinn in Bryan. He is a PhD double graduate of Texas A&M. And I think you did your undergrad at Tarleton. Is that right, Jimmy?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Yes. And so we made friends this semester and we had a wonderful conversation about Blinn. And I just told him that I felt like there was a lot of misinformation that's out there about Blinn and our relationship with Texas A&M, and that I wanted to make sure that that we got that information out there. For those of you that attended the president's meeting, you know that I brought it up. And I just, was telling you and sharing with you that as Aggie moms, we are called to serve the university and to serve all Aggies. And so we need to be aware that some of the Aggies may have a little bit different pathway, but they're Aggies and they become Aggies and they actually can be dual enrolled and they are current Aggies, and that we don't want to be ever, um, you know, discriminating or trotting on the pathway of any kid's pathway to success. And so that being said, I asked Jimmy if he would come on and do a presentation, and he has brought with him, I'll let him introduce her, but she's going to actually be our speaker tonight and go through just the all about Blinn. That was kind of my title. I thought, well, let's just go through all of it because I think there's some really exciting things that we all stand to learn from tonight. So, Jimmy, I'll turn over the floor to you, and I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. Well, can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. First of all, my name is Jimmy Byrd, and thank y'all for having me. This is an opportunity that we've been looking forward to for quite some time. My opinion is that Blinn is probably the best kept secret in Texas, especially with our partnership and our relationship with Texas A&M. We're like part of the family. And I was telling Nancy today, looking out my window, every 20 minutes, Route 12, Reveille, bus 12 comes through our campus to pick up students and drop off students who are co-enrolled at A&M and Blinn. And we look out across our campus. I don't think I've seen a Blinn blue T-shirt in quite some time. But what it is it's filled with maroon and white, because a lot of our kids, 70% of our kids, are taking courses at both places. And I'm going to introduce Victoria here in just a second. But one of the neat things is if you have a daughter or a son who maybe didn't quite make it into A&M, but they'd like to be in College Station and hopefully get in next semester, well, we have a route for that. And so I'll let Victoria talk more about that. But it's a way to get into A&M, even though they're starting to cap their enrollment. They're not capping the number of transfers they're bringing in. So there's lots of opportunity. We have some really great partnerships. I don't want to steal Victoria's thunder, but just a little bit about Victoria. She was a dual credit student, so she was taking Blinn classes when she was in high school. She went to A&M and graduated, so she is an Aggie. She understands what you, as an Aggie mom, what you're going to be interested in. She started out as an instructor, now a professor. Now she's the dean of mathematics and engineering. And not only is she very, 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 very smart, she's also very down to earth and very easy to talk to. And she's the one that can give you the information on joining the engineering academy, the team program. And I could sit here and talk all day, but she has lived through what every Aggie student everyone that wants to be an Aggie, you need to have this information in your back pocket, because as Nancy said, not everyone goes the same route. They don't go to high school, take their SAT, ACT, and walk right into college. Sometimes they may have to go to work. They may not make the grades they needed to, but you know what? Blinn is there to get them into Texas A&M and make them an Aggie. So Victoria, I'm going to turn it over to you. She's going to talk about these things and more. But as we talked yesterday, we'd like to keep this informal. So please feel free to stop anytime during the presentation and ask questions. And so, Victoria, I'll let you take it from here.
Okay, and I'm going to see about sharing my screen. So let's hope that that goes okay. Are you guys able to see this? Is that a yes? Are we good? Okay, awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Byrd, and thank you all for just letting us come and talk because we certainly do want you guys to have the right information. And my goal is to be able to have you guys share with your students, with future students you might have, share with family members, because we are just right here in the backyard of A&M. And as Dr. Byrd had mentioned, that there are caps on enrollments coming to A&M. And we are the highest transfer rate institution, community college in Texas. And so I'm going to share with you my passion for Blinn and for Texas A&M. And so I'm going to share with you what can we do for you. And if you have questions, I am not good at monitoring the chat. So you may have to just, unmute and ask, or someone may have to read them off. But I will tell you, I am not that great at monitoring the chat while I'm presenting. Um, but first, just kind of a bit of my background, which Dr. Byrd did share. I did start off at Blinn College as a dual credit student, and that really changed my life. I was 15 from a very small town, and I took some math classes. I took economics, sociology, all these things as a dual credit high school student. And there was a faculty member that taught me in math and changed my life, and that's why I decided to become a math major. My passion had been in writing, and so I did a very odd change here, and I worked to get into A&M, and then I took some Blinn classes in the summers, and I really enjoyed it, especially transitioning from a small school that I had come from. So everything that I'm going to talk about today is because I have lived through, as he said, like all of these moments, and I'm a mom now, and my son isn't, the oldest is not quite ready to go to college yet. He will in a couple years. And so these are all things that I'm, wanting to share with my mom friends and with anyone. And I love Blinn College. I have worked in so many capacities there, and I'm just so excited about all that we have in the division that I'm now overseeing. So many opportunities, and I hope to share with you things that are in the pipeline because we do work so closely with Texas A&M. So again, just all of the things I'm going to share, it's not because I'm trying to do some sort of sales pitch or something. I mean, we would love to have your students, but I think it's just important for you guys to know. So I'm going to do just kind of a brief overview. I think a lot of community colleges can at least boast about a few of these things. They're probably affordable. They have small class sizes. They're teaching focused. And I will talk more about those in depth, what that means for Blinn College later. But what we do have is, like Dr. Byrd said, these seamless local logistics. And so we do have bus routes that are running every 20 minutes to get those students back and forth between campuses, saving gas, saving time, saving money on parking pass. So I'll go through those, but we really do. We're very lucky to be right in the neighborhood of Texas A&M. We do have these proven partnerships. So these are a few of the things that you may have been kind of thinking about from your prior meeting, I guess you'd mentioned. We have these partnerships that have been articulated formally with A&M. We have Blinn Team, and that is a process where students are actually selected for admission into this program by Texas A&M. So A&M does the admission process for that, and they take their Blinn courses at Blinn and Bryan. That will be effective this next year. Again, they'll be at Blinn and Bryan, and they will be taking courses with both institutions, and then they transition to a major upon meeting the certain criteria. Maybe it's GPA, certain courses, and that usually happens about 1 to 2 years in the program. So what that means, though, is because we have these formal agreements in place, we really are in contact with advisors in the various departments and colleges over at the flagship campus. And so we really do have to kind of stay up to date and keep in communication, ask questions on behalf of our students, maintain our coursework, make sure that it's preparatory. So there's like a lot of coordination with that. The other things that I've actually been working with for several years would be the engineering academies. And between the stint of graduate school and then coming back to Blinn, I did work for Schlumberger in the oil field and gas industry. So as a seismic engineer with my math background. So I do have a passion for the STEM fields. I think that's probably pretty obvious. But the engineering academy is an extremely incredible opportunity We have really two different kinds. There's one that's specifically for the Blinn College campus in Brenham, and that's one that students apply to specifically to get into. And then we also have one that is over with Relish, and that's called TEAB, and that one is similar to the team program where students are selected by A&M during that freshman admissions process. And so those are unique pathways. The engineering academies, though, to be able to get into the College of Engineering and get into the major of your choice, that is quite difficult. But we have these great pathways partnerships. I serve on several steering committees and oversight committees for these, meeting with the A&M faculty and those who oversee those programs. And so we make sure that we are really aligning our curriculums. And in fact, for Brenham, they actually have the A&M professor come to the site in Brenham, and they teach their classes there. And the other case with Relish, the students will actually go over to A&M and take courses there 2 days a week, and then they take courses with Blinn. So these students, all of these students in these three formal partnerships, they have access to all the amenities, exciting things, sports passes, you name it, and really like the support services, the advisors from both institutions. So I'll probably get more into that in a little bit. But
Real quick, can I ask you a question, Victoria? Just so everybody understands, all three of those partnerships, they are a registered Texas A&M student in a partnership with Blinn. So they have an EIN number and they are paying tuition to A&M and also to Blinn. Correct?
absolutely. That is
Okay.
correct. However, those courses that they're taking at Blinn, so that goes into really the affordability. I think it's like 40% less, as if I remember
Yes.
the
Yes,
coursework.
it is.
So
It saves parents anywhere from like $2,000 to $3,000 a semester is what I've understood. So
it's amazing. We've had students, and I can speak particularly for the Brenham Academy students. We've had students that have been accepted into the College of Engineering straight just into A&M, and then they've decided, well, I would like to save money. I want to be in maybe even the smaller class sizes, and they've opted to apply for the Brenham program and have accepted that over rather than go to the flagship campus right away. So you kind of just have to know your students and where they fit. But yes, we are a huge savings, and they're co-enrolled, as you said. They have their IDs at the two different places, and we have great advisors involved with all of these programs to make sure that that's very seamless. So good point there. But I don't want to just limit the conversation there to those pathways because those are already the co-enrollment formalized programs. We offer classes to anyone. So all Aggies are welcome. Blinn College actually has 6 different campuses. So we're talking really today, Dr. Byrd and I are on the Bryan campus, but we have the Bryan, we have Relish, we have Brenham, we have a Waller one that will be coming in, we have Sealy and Schulenburg, and of course we have our distance education. But what this means is that we are accessible to many people across the state because we're in Brazos County, we're right by A&M. As Dr. Byrd said, we have a lot of students that are co-enrolled already, and we have an open enrollment with many parts of term. And so what that means is it's not that the students have to just register at the start of August or their starting class at the start of August. They're able to start taking courses in August. We have 8-week courses, so they could be taking a first year math course during the first 8 weeks through October, and then take their next math course that they have to do and get out of the way in the second 8 weeks and complete those in one semester. So they do that from October to December. We also have 4-week courses. And then I know this one's going to sound crazy here in the middle. We have 12-day courses. And even students would ask, because I taught math for a very long time, like, how scary is that? Really, in any field that they go into, whatever course that they're wanting to take, it's actually a phenomenal experience because they don't have the outside courses of how do I juggle and balance studying for my chemistry class while also needing to do my math class or whatever. It's a time where they focus on that specific course. In my opinion, the December mini semester is incredible because we have, per the academic calendar, kind of some built-in flex days because no one is really, those are off days during that kind of Christmas time up until New Year's. And so students can actually work ahead. They find that they can pace themselves better in December. And then we also offer a May mini mester. So it's a really great opportunity for sometimes students to figure out, hey, I really needed to knock this one course out of the way, a prerequisite, or I need to retake a course I didn't do well in, have time to focus on it. So again, we have so many different points of entry, different time periods, and then we also have our summer classes. And so we offer those face-to-face, we offer them online. Sometimes we have them live online, but these are just really, they're easy to register for. I'll kind of walk you through and show and share with you some things about how easy it is to enroll in our classes. Are there any questions before I move on here? Because y'all can definitely unmic if you would like to. Okay, hearing none. All right. So I do want you to know that we are extremely affordable. So it is I think it's like a 39% or 40%. It'll cost you that much less than attending a university. So our tuition is actually frozen until fall of 2027. And where we are with Blinn is an interesting, location. Our taxing district is just Washington County. And so we have the out of district and within district tuition listed here. And so Washington County is our taxation district. So if you have a student that will be enrolling, you see out of district, that's because our taxing district is Washington County. So unless you live in Washington County area, it would be considered out of district. But it's still extremely affordable, especially when you make the comparison across the state and taking all of your classes through, let's say, Texas A&M. Another big thing is I have already mentioned that we have these incredible partnerships articulated and making sure that our courses are aligned. That's the content, the curriculum. But there's a really nice and easy website to look at. And so I think we'll be able to send this PowerPoint out to you. You can just click on, once you get the specific web page that has the course equivalency. So you could look at what classes equate to, so that if you're being told or students being told by an advisor at A&M, hey, you need to take Math 151, which is Calculus 1. Well, what class would you register for over at Blinn? And so we just gave a few examples here, but this is a really great link to be able to easily see what classes that they could take. And when you consider your specific student or situation, there's some students that are just extremely timid actually about math, and I can speak to that from personal experience. And so being able to say, I don't want to take Math 140 in a lecture hall with 150 students, being able to enroll over at Blinn, take that quick bus over there, Math 1324, you're in a class with no more than 40 students. In fact, our math classes are usually 30 to 32, and you really get that one-on-one attention and that connection with the faculty member. So, think about prerequisite courses that need to be taken to move on, or they've just kind of been putting off. We are an excellent place, and we're just right in the backyard.
Real quick on that, Victoria,
Yeah.
I'm going to say I hear so many stories of people taking the wrong course or taking, especially for engineering, trying to transfer from another, entity or something, or going to another college and then like a larger school and then trying to transfer. And when they make the application, they don't have the right classes that they took because they do not match. The really good thing about is all of Blinn's, they know exactly, they're on the same page. So they're not going to tell somebody, yes, just take that course. They're going to be telling them, no, this is the right number. This is what you need to take. And that course has a lab, etc. Because I cannot tell you the number of people that I know that their child is still at another school because the classes are non-transferable to Texas A&M. They do not match the criteria for the engineering courses at A&M. So that's a really good thing. And then we had a quick question from Juanita.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. My son is autistic, and he did this special program through College Station that they had the Spectrum Living Learning Community, and now he just graduated in the spring in his master's, in his undergrad honors aerospace engineering, and he texted me, and part of the actual with his master's program, he said that he texted me. He said, I'm meeting with my sergeant mentee tomorrow on Zoom. And he said he's in engineering academy at McAllen. And he said he's trying to help him get into aerospace engineering. He needs to keep his grades up. They don't have aerospace in McAllen. So he needs to do aerospace. He needs to do well in his classes. So he was giving him all this advice. He's like, I met with my mentee, Jose, today. I told him about the academic resources like office hours and math learning center. He said his semester's going well. I also told him about the SI sessions for chemistry. He didn't know about those. It was nice to meet him. And he said he's got a midterm tomorrow. I told him he needs to get some sleep. And he said that he's got one next week. So I told him to start studying before fall break and that. So um, that was amazing that my son texted me, and he's part of this special mentee program to help other engineering students. So that's just Aggies are just amazing, and it's just awesome. Like what other school has a program like that? Really?
And that is so true. You know, and being a mom now and really thinking about how you want your kid to be cared for. I have had amazing experiences just working at Blinn. And no one likes to take math. So when I go to like recruiting things, I'm like, I know you don't want to be math, but you have to take us. And I always say the more math you take, the more money you make, except for education. So I'm telling you, the people that I've worked with, like that we want to be there, and we want to help support students. But everyone I've worked with across all campuses, and I've taught on every single one of them, except for Waller, which is not yet out there. I mean, there's a personal approach and being able to contact an advisor, getting connected with people. And so that speaks to the fact that we have these different support services, these programs already in place. And when you're co-enrolled, you have access to both of those. So, you know, that really picks up into, you know, this slide, that small class size, being able to feel comfortable and ask questions to your faculty who can point you to a resource, or a student tutor. You know, it really is a great place, A&M. I mean, I remember going there and feeling like, oh, I know I belong here. I feel like home, like Aggies are so special. And then I feel that same thing when I'm at Blinn. And I can tell you our faculty and staff, who are not all Aggies, right? There's a lot of us there. We really approach it in that same way that we're all family. So please know that if your students are with us, I mean, we will make sure that we get answers to things and we can connect them with people. So I'm really glad that your son's told you about a great experience he's having, and that's what we want for our students.
That's awesome. Victoria, we have another question. If someone applies to Blinn directly, are they still considered an A&M student?
For the engineering Brenham Academy, possibly is
So that I think so. I think what they're asking is if they just apply to Blinn. And so I think she's going to talk about this because actually just going to Blinn for a year or for a semester and making great grades is an auto transfer in. And she's going to talk about that in a minute. And so and that's not being enrolled at A&M at all at that point. You're literally just enrolled at Blinn. And so I think their question is if they just apply to Blinn directly, are they still considered an A&M student? And the answer to that is no. They have to apply to A&M and maybe apply to those academies. And can you walk us through, is that how that goes? How does that work?
So with the engineering academies, there's the two different ones. So the Brenham one is one where students apply directly to that. So they will go through an application process and pre-qualification that involves both Blinn and A&M, but they have to really, I mean, we actually just posted, I think, on our website when it was opening up for that, but they have to I guess, be deliberate in doing that. So once they go through pre-qualification, there's communication, and they're accepted to that, then they would become an Aggie and a Buccaneer. For the academy that is at Rellis right now, which is also in Bryan but a different campus, that one is the students apply directly to A&M, and then A&M selects students to be eligible for the engineering academy there. And I think we had like 760 of those students in the Rellis campus this year. Brenham is, I think we were around like 183, which was actually higher than anticipated. And so those students who did not directly apply for the Rellis Academy, those are A&M and Blinn students. And then, as I mentioned, TEAM, that's a different program. It's open to any major, and that's one that A&M also will select those students to be co-enrolled. But if you're applying to Blinn, you won't necessarily be an Aggie until you do your prereqs and you apply, and then they have to admit you. And so, a big part of that, and we have a lot of students that want to get into Mays Business School, which is we know is really tough, but I have to say there is something exciting going on there that I'll tell you guys about within my own division. But if students are wanting to do that, they come to Blinn, they do really well. They have to be aware of what their transfer requirements would be, their GPA that has to be, pretty phenomenal for Mays, but in any major that they want to go to, they would work with our advisors, have contact with advisors at A&M about what would you anticipate I need for this? What classes should I take? And then we really work to align and kind of help those students along. But they need to go to advisors and they need to maintain contact just so that they stay on the right track. But at that point, they could hopefully transfer over successfully, but they've got to make sure that they're maintaining those GPA and coursework requirements. That was quite long-winded. Sorry about that.
No, thank you. That was perfect.
So, okay. And again, I'm hoping to provide you guys with this PowerPoint because there's a few links in here and things that, and you might just start like searching around. Oh, this looked interesting. Now for our current Aggies, so you guys, I would imagine, have your students going there or will have some more. These are the bus routes that Dr. Byrd was talking about. So just know that that is, one less barrier to get over to campus for us to be able to help your students is we do have these bus routes. And so real easy to find further information, saves on parking, saves on all of those things. So I'm going to throw that out there. And then I'm sure we'll go into more questions. I got just a few more things like on a formal slide. Applying to Blinn College. So these are the steps to apply. You go to the appliedtexas.org. They get their email. They'll start doing their Blinn ID. They'll end up with access to My Blinn, which is our portal instead of the Howdy portal. And we want to make sure that they get their test scores in there. Students who are already at A&M and then they want to come and take courses with us, we got to make sure that those official transcripts from A&M come back to us so that we can ensure you get into the right courses. We will have a lot of students. I can actually say we'll have engineering students that are at A&M. They're like, man, I want to take my calculus too. It's like, okay, send us your official transcript so we can ensure that you're placed into Cal 2 and we know that you're not trying to bypass something because we won't let them. They've got to get their transcripts in. So our academic calendar gives the dates in which they can register. I mean, you literally could register for classes through the first 2 days of our courses, as long as there's room. So we tell students don't wait. So if there's suddenly your student realizes, oh my gosh, I still need this class to graduate, they don't necessarily have a seat if they're waiting till those days, but we do have those several parts of terms. We do have those, mini semesters to catch them up. So I encourage everyone to look at that calendar just so that they know the registration, but it is a really easy process to apply. We are open enrollment. But we do serve a lot of students, so definitely tell them, please do not wait. Let's plan ahead. So those are actually part of my tips for success. I didn't realize that was coming up so quick. So you want your student to know what they're planning to do. They want to be mindful of everything, as we talked about with their GPA, what kind of coursework they should be taking, what the admissions process looks like at A&M to get into a major, what classes they should have taken, what the GPA should look like. But we are able to offer those accelerated courses. And I get requests all the time from students, can you please override so I can get into this? I want to be able to transfer over to A&M by such and such date. So map that stuff out. We have accelerated classes. Students are able to complete coursework and get over to A&M quickly if they haven't already been admitted. And then this is what I think it was Juanita was talking about, like supplemental instruction, office hours. I cannot tell you enough how thoughtful our faculty are and how much they want to be available and help students who want to seek help. And I was nervous at A&M going into those huge lecture halls, talking to someone and asking questions if I needed assistance. We really try to make it a point at Blinn, know our students, know them by name, host our office hours, be available. We have tutoring center available. We have a writing center. I've worked closely actually with the math center over at A&M. Some of those guys were actually my faculty members while I was there. So we really have a lot of great services, and I feel like students are more inclined to go to those, even as co-enrolled students, because it doesn't feel as intimidating. And then we really do just get to know our students there. So those are kind of my tips, and then we can open it up for questions, and Dr. Byrd may have to answer some of them if I don't know them, but I'm hoping I do because
Awesome.
I've been around a while also.
Okay, so I have a couple of them from the chat that I'll read off. The first one was, I have a friend whose son wants to transfer to A&M, but if he doesn't get in, can he apply direct to Blinn and then transfer in? His major is business related.
Yes, and actually, this is I didn't mention another incredible thing that happens. So we see that actually a lot, especially when it's in the business area, because it is very hard to get into Mays. But students can take classes with us. We'll advise them like, here are kind of your goals to get in. But we have an incredible opportunity with RELIS, which I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that alliance with RELIS. That it has multiple institutions on site. So Blinn is there, but then the RELIS campus itself has like A&M Corpus Christi, Tarleton, all of the A&M system schools, so I won't pretend I can name off all of them, but they're A&M system schools. And so I just met with the provost of RELIS recently, because I'm relatively new into this particular role with all of these new programs. And so I was talking with her, and she was telling me about the direct admission process. So students, business students in particular, A&M Corpus Christi, which is a system school, we have a pretty great program with them that students can apply to. It's reduced also, it's more affordability, I guess I would say. It's on that campus. And students, that business school from A&M Corpus Christi has the same accreditation as Mays Business School, which I think only 5% of all business schools in the country have. So there are opportunities, and we've actually had students in the academy. I just heard this last week, Engineering Academy, who are ready to transition over. And they said, I really love this RELIS campus. And they ended up going to RELIS to one of the system schools. And those students also have access to amenities of A&M, even though it's a system school, but they have access to the flagship campus amenities like the sports pass and also the rec center and things like that. So that was a really good question.
That's awesome. So at the end, if they stay there and graduate, is their diploma Texas A&M Corpus Christi or Texas A&M University?
I don't know how it's printed. Dr. Byrd, do you want to answer that one?
It was whichever major university they completed the majority of their course.
Okay.
And
then
so it would be interest. Yes. Is that your question? Wait, I think I heard it.
Yeah. Okay. And then a next question was, a friend's child is currently in Blinn. Can y'all mute? Okay. Can y'all mute? Okay. And then the other question was, a friend's child is currently in Blinn team. What are the chances of them being able to transfer into Mays?
That is a good question for Mays, because we don't have, we have a very unique agreement with engineering, and that is like an auto admit, and then they're still kind of vying for their major within the College of Engineering. With Mays, I think it's, what is it, 100 students, Dr. Byrd, transferred students that they take.
Yes, that's correct.
And so the GPA, and actually my division operation coordinator that I work with very closely, she has all of these kind of things spelled off. She used to work in advising. But they need to know what that GPA should be, and it's got to be pretty high, and what courses that they really need to have, under their belt to be able to be competitive. We've had students, I think they were highlighted in like our Blinn connections this last year. We've had several students that have transferred over and transitioned. We have a great business society, by the way, on the Bryan campus in particular. They have a lot of speakers come in. They've gone through etiquette courses. We work with A&M and actually have been involved with some of the competitions at Mays. So just really networking. And that's a great point to ask questions too and have on your resume to seek to transfer.
Okay, the next question we had was, is it true that if you are enrolled at Texas A&M and you take a course at Blinn online during the summer, does the grade affect your GPA or you only get credit for the course?
I believe it's just credit, right, Dr. Byrd?
I am not 100% sure on that one. I think it would have to go along the lines of have to go along.
Okay, and
Cover
then
it
the
up.
next one,
Oh, can I
the
add
next,
to that?
oh, go
I
ahead.
think if the student's at A&M and they're trying to switch majors, possibly, right? Then I would think that, I mean, they're going to look at coursework. So if you were, liberal arts or general studies or something, and then you're trying to get into engineering or another thing, if you're taking a summer class, I think they're going to want to look at your grades to determine if you're able to switch majors.
Yeah, I know my son took he took one of the math classes, or actually I think it was physics for engineering. He was told, take it in summer at Blinn if you can. So he did his first semester. So I'll have to text him and see if he responds to me and see if he has the answer, if he remembers if it was credit or it affected the GPA. Because I know at your local community colleges, you're kind of more at risk to make sure that the course counts at A&M, but most of those is only the credit. It's not affecting on the GPA. But the next question was, are there other majors with a direct admit, like engineering?
So
So
right now it's just engineering, which is pretty amazing. Because I have moved into this role that it's over business. We're actually working with someone at Mays Business School to have a pathway that I'm hoping in the future will be a similar cohort to what we have with the academy. And it's amazing, faculty and people at Texas A&M, how little they know that these academies exist. But they're extremely successful, and so I'm hoping to kind of forge away with that. Now that is not happening yet, but that is in the works for me. That's a goal.
it's very exciting because we heard about it 2 and 3 years ago. And then to see it like live in action already. I'm in El Paso, which is really far. And it's funny to me, it's not the junior college. Actually, it's UTEP professors that are doing the academy here for El Paso kids.
Mhm.
And so it's a completely different college, but they're working with, I mean, there's just a lot of collaboration that it's a really good thing, I think, to help families that are trying to save money. That 1 and 2 years is a lot of savings for someone who might need to work and, themselves through college and might have something that they need to stay closer to home to take care of parents or do something. And so to me, I just see that there's been just a huge benefit. I know one of the things, Dr. Bird, that you and I talked about is um, directly enrolling in Blinn and then making a 2.5 GPA and being able to transfer. Can you discuss that? Because I think that is something that people have no idea. So if their child doesn't get in an auto on A&M, they get very disappointed and they just automatically might take, a pathway to another college that's not what they want to do. And I think that that is just something that I had no idea existed. You might be able to answer that, Victoria, but and that's just straight enrolling in Blinn, right?
Yeah, I mean, and so we do have students that happens to, and they will take courses at Blinn. I don't know that there is it could be, I don't know the direct GPA requirement, but you want to look at like what you're seeking to transfer into then, because you're going to have different areas that are stricter and limitations on how many students they accept into the major at A&M. So, we do have a lot of students that start with us and transition over. And that's, not with the formalized team agreement. I mean, we are just number one in transfer. So being at Blinn and attempting to do that, I think you are probably looked at as a student when the admissions selection process a little bit higher level than, another community college, just because there is that close relationship and the constant, truly collaboration, which I can say for myself has been a lot better in recent years, just making sure that the right people in different areas, departments are talking and ensuring that we're aligned.
I think at some point we had had a conversation and he was sharing with me that, obviously engineering and maze are much harder, but there are a lot of the other degree plans that 2.5, I mean, he said you're an auto in, from Blinn to transfer. And so, sometimes you have to get your foot in the door, right? And then you've got to prove yourself when you get there. And
Yeah.
so, but that's giving them that opportunity, and you've saved money and they've kind of adjusted to college in a smaller environment. And so I think there's just a lot of positives. So does anybody else have anything else? I don't have anything else in the chat, but y'all feel free to unmute and ask a question if you've got anything. Nobody? We're never quiet. This is amazing. Raggy moms, we're never quiet. So one of the things that I had spoke about at the president's workshop was scholarships. And so we give scholarships only to Texas A&M. That's the only place that any Federation of Texas A&M Mothers Club writes a check. If we're doing anything in donations, it has to go to Texas A&M. It can go to Texas A&M to the financial aid. It can go to A&M for an endowed scholarship. It can go to A&M student organizations. And so what started the whole conversation was a lot of people didn't understand how this works. So these students are enrolled at A&M and they might be taking 3 courses at Blinn and 2 at A&M, or 2 courses at Blinn and 3 at A&M. And so when we give our scholarships, we're going to send those just like normal into the financial aid office, and they're going to credit their Texas A&M account. These are not scholarships or things that we do to Blinn, because that would have to change our whole setup of who we are and how we do things. But it is helping them still. And so that was one of the things. So Shelly Miller, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question if you want to.
Hi, Nancy. I have a question. My son is at the A&M Engineering Academy at Blinn and Brenham right now, and he was also accepted to A&M Galveston, but to a different major, not engineering. So he was like a maritime studies major. Okay. So we put our deposit down on the dorm in Galveston because he got that acceptance first. And then then he finally got accepted. I mean, it was like right at the wire there in April. He got accepted to the Engineering Academy at Blinn and Brenham. And the disconnect, and I still haven't been able to get a resolution on this, is Galveston said that they would refund the deposit on the dorm if he was transferring to A&M, but since he wasn't transferring to A&M, they wouldn't do it. And so that was my question, is the Engineering Academy at Blinn and Brenham not A&M enough to get a refund on a dorm, when we had to wait so long for those acceptances to roll in?
I have no idea on that, but I mean if your son's in the academy at Brenham, he's an A&M student. And he
That was
was,
my perspective as well. I mean, but they won't accept that, as an explanation, and they just shut me down about it, and so they kept my money.
I wonder if you could get in contact with anyone with the admissions of the engineering academy on the A&M side.
I did. Or I talked to Eddie Alvarado.
Okay.
And he didn't do anything about it either. So I've tried. I've beat my head against the wall until I finally was like, I'm just gonna eat it, But everybody says, oh, kumbaya, kumbaya, we're all A&M. But in reality, is it? Because that's a disconnect that I have found in our path. So
And I feel like that would be, A&M Galveston being a bit selfish on that part. And then, it's hard when you have these bigger institutions to get to someone who wants to resolve something. I'm not saying that Eddie doesn't, but, just that more personal, ability to advocate on behalf. So I would attempt to follow up. I'm not sure who else would be appropriate within that academy on the A&M side, but I believe that that's where it would have to come from.
it'd have to be on the A&M side. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just can't. I can't get a resolution from it. And I don't know if if just the hard and fast rules in the books for Galveston and they're just not going to do anything about it until that changes or what. So
Yeah,
anyway,
Shelley,
okay.
I just ask you, you've got my number. Text me the amount of the deposit and then I have your son's name and I will try to reach out tomorrow. Um Part of this whole me learning about and like wanting to bring forth people's ability to look at how Texas A&M really works was spawned by my conversation with Colonel Fossum. And so
Mm-hmm.
I have a really good relationship with him. I think right now that I might could bring that up in a conversation because him
Okay.
and I have been very much communicating, um, and so that I mean that really was part of it too. Is that Galveston, McAllen, College Station are all Texas A&M Aggies. Period. They're all enrolled in the same exact college. They're all getting
Mm-hmm.
the same exact piece of paper when they graduate.
Uh,
Um,
that was
so
my point
and
too. I was like, he has a UIN. He is an A&M student, so
he
I
is
don't
an A&M
understand
student.
why it's
Yeah.
an issue,
So I think it's probably somebody sitting at that desk that might have a budget, or something. I mean, I
Oh, it
don't
may be. I
never
didn't think
know,
about that
right? And
perspective.
they're
It
like,
could
we
be.
can't, yeah. And they may not know what to do. So the easier thing to do is to say no, and to
Correct.
assume. And just like many of the people that were in our meeting that day, they were like, they're not Aggies. I'm like, they are Aggies, and we're not going to
Mm-hmm.
discriminate. If they have an EIN number, is it a EIN or a UIN?
UIN. Yeah,
A
it's UIN.
UIN. If they have,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if they've got a number, they are a student. And so it's not for us to decipher they are or aren't. If they have one, they are. I mean, they don't get them for Texas A&M because they think they're going to get there someday. That's not how it works. They have to be actually registered even if it's one or two classes, that doesn't matter. And all of these are just facilitating programs or whatever to make more opportunities for success. Not everybody's path is different. And I love the amount of attention that's gone in to looking at what are these different things and what are these different ways that we can help kids succeed. So,
I do have a question for you too, Nancy. This is
uh-huh.
regarding scholarships. You were talking about the Aggie Mother scholarships would only go to A&M. If a student is at the academy and they are paying tuition to A&M, could they use a scholarship from the Aggie Mom Club that goes
So
toward?
what I would do is I would have them apply to their local club, whatever your local club is, and it depends on what your local club's guidelines say. So your local club may have in their bylaws or whatever, but my instructions, I can't micromanage them and tell them how to run their clubs. You're all
Mhm.
individuals, but my
Mhm.
advice to them is we are Aggie moms, and our mission statement is to support all Aggies. And so if they are an Aggie, which they are, they have a UIN
Right.
number, we should not be discriminating against who's an Aggie, and we should not be the ones that are determining who we think is and isn't an Aggie, etc. We should not even be in the middle of that mix. We should stay in our role, which is to support the university, to support the families of the Aggies, and to support the
Mhm.
Aggies themselves. So I would
Okay.
say
Well,
apply to your local club. And if those bylaws do say something like that, maybe say, hey, in good faith of Nancy's, theme this year of better together, and that it's not us and them, but we're all us and we're all on the same page trying to do things. Is there an opportunity that the club would make a decision to change that? And that's just a
okay.
vote from your local club. But
Yeah,
there are
because
quite a few of
I'm
them that
just
might
curious
have.
about that because our local alumni club, they'll only give scholarships to kids that are full admit to College Station, and they absolutely refuse to support the other students. It's terrible.
Yeah. And there's nothing we can do about that because obviously they're their own thing or whatever through the
Right.
association. They all have their own. And I hear that more than you would think. But to me, it just I I just I don't know.
I mean,
I just
everybody's paying money to A&M, if
everybody
they're
yeah.
students. So like, why does it matter? Why are you
Yeah,
going to
they're
nitpick these
writing a check to
kids?
A&M. And what's the
Right.
difference in a kid that takes 16 hours and drops two classes? He's got the same three classes that the Blinn team kid has, right? As far as hours
Right.
at A&M, but he doesn't
Right.
qualify, And so there's some of those things that you just have to, I think for Aggie moms, I'm hoping that every club wants to take the to stand up and say, we're not going to be in the process of who's what. We're going to be the support system to whoever is an Aggie that fits into our mission statement. And that doesn't matter to us who they are or where they come from or what they're doing and how they get there. We want them to succeed. And so I
Well,
can't
thank
make
you for
everybody,
sharing
but I
that.
certainly
I,
am preaching. I'm preaching this year.
I appreciate you supporting all the students.
Yeah, well, thank you. So anybody else? Okay, are A&M Blinn moms able to join that moms club that only gives scholarships to full-time Aggie students? So again, I would say attempt to join your club, your local club, and tell them, my son has a UIN number. He's a Aggie student. He's doing this program, and they may have their guidelines, but I can tell you why would we turn a mom away that wants to be a member of our club when, we have 10% membership compared to, when you look at 78,000 kids at A&M, and and we have 7,800 moms, you know? So we obviously have room I wanted to have like 20% by the time I was done, but that was yeah, that's not happening. We're not doing a big membership drive, but honestly, I would attempt to join your club. And then if by chance they say, no, you can't, or you're not, say, do you want a copy of my tuition bill? Does anyone else have to show that? I just feel like those are things that, all of my conversations with presidents this year are absolutely like, my sister-in-law is an Aggie. My brother's an Aggie, and both their kids went off the rail and went to Arkansas and Baylor. And so she joined the Kingwood Humble Club as an aunt of my son. And she's like, I just want to be involved. And she just loves to be around them. So she joined as an associate member, and she's gone to meetings and stuff. I'm cracking up. She's going to the Humble Kingwood stuff, but she tells me how fun they are and what all is going on. And so the more open an Aggie mom, club is really what we should all be about. That's part of my theme this year, Victoria is better together. And that, that we are collectively, we all have one thing in common. We all have an Aggie, and all these little details don't matter. That one thing is enough for us to be better together and do things together. So that would be my advice. And that was from a Nancy or whatever, is try to join your club. And then if for some reason they don't let you, I want you to email me. I just want to know. I want to know who it is, if so. We have another one. I'm a TEAB Aggie mom and am serving as an Aggie mom ambassador. That's from Miriam. So, tell me what TEAB is. Do I not know what that is? Oh, a Team Blinn. Is that what y'all call it?
That one's the Engineering Academy over at Rellis.
Oh, okay. TEAB. Okay. Awesome.
It's like team, but it's
Yeah, with a B. Okay. So she actually is not only an Aggie mom in Kingwood, but she's also an Aggie mom ambassador, which means that she's signed up to volunteer and at all of our functions and stuff. She goes and does that stuff. And then Juanita asked me about, will there be Aggie moms and puppy kisses at Blinn? And so probably not, but if we've got Blinn moms, or if we, so I don't know if you know this, Victoria, but we started with the mental health awareness and suicide month like 3 years ago. The first time we used to stand out with just signs that said free mom hug. And I thought, no boy is going to stop and get a free mom hug. Well, no, they lined up. And I had like 200 kids in line to wait for a hug during finals. And they would not only hug you, but they would ask for prayer for physics and prayer for, whatever. It was the sweetest thing ever. So the next time we did it and people brought their dogs. And so it was puppy kisses or mom hugs. And of course, they all want to play with the puppies, right? Well, now it is a formally organized thing, and the university asked us to do it multiple times a year. We were just there a couple of weeks ago. I can share pictures with you. It's so fun. We had 15 dogs. They're all registered through the vet at Texas A&M, and they have all their passes to be able to be on campus, that they don't bite people and whatnot, and that they have their shots. And we go to different places on campus, and we just stand out there and hand out snacks, and the kids can come. Well, the Friday that we went a couple of weeks ago, it was Suicide Awareness Week is why we did it, but it happened to be the first big test of the semester. And all of these kids came out and they were just on the ground with these dogs, just loving on them. And you can literally see the stress just go poof from these kids and they love it. And so, we do that. I don't know if we could ever do anything. I guess we'd have to get major permission or whatever if we could do that, but maybe we could go do something during finals or something sometime and just see if there's a group of moms that wanted to do it. We would probably have to get permission from Blinn to be on campus with signs and snacks and puppies, and these are people's real dogs. These are not
We
like we go to a
we can get that taken care of for you.
Awesome. Well, you know what? I'll let the girl that's in charge know, and we'll see if we can't put people together to do that because I think that would be awesome. The first time you do it, the kids are, I'll be honest with you, it was so interesting. Um, General Ramirez was Division of Student Affairs at the time, and he's not a dog fan. He did not like dogs. So he was like, we can't have dogs on campus. And it was kind of a big thing. And which, by the way, if anyone follows him on Facebook, he now has a dog that's asleep in his recliner with him most days, which I think is hilarious. So, but Libby Dagger said, you just have to see how kids interact with a dog. I don't think you understand. So she did the whole auditorium with like 300 core freshmen, and it was like, they thought they were coming in and getting like talked to. They were all nervous. General Ramirez was there. They didn't know what was going on. And so no one, I mean, everyone just looked like a nervous wreck when they came in the building. And then she walked in with her golden retriever and just let the dog go. And the dog went kid to kid, and almost like they go to the people who need it, right? And he just watched the whole room just change. And so he was like, fine, y'all can have dogs. And we were like, yay, we won. But it was a ploy. But that day, he said he sat there for an hour and watched 200 kids change their entire demeanor before they left that room. So we're a big fan of it. And Dana Tuggle runs it for us, and we call it pup hugs now. And so everybody knows where there's pup hugs, and we do them sometimes in 5 different locations on campus at the same time. So there's that many of them that are involved. So we can certainly try that. Juanita brings her Yorkie all the time, which, yes, she has done it so many times. It's awesome. So we will get you signed up to do that for Blinn, Juanita, if we get it organized to do it. But it's a super sweet thing to do, and anything to help these kids release stress or whatever in their environment. Obviously. So does anybody else have any other Blinn questions or anything else for follow-up? Wow. 1 hour and 5 minutes. You girls are good. So, I guess make sure that you put your name and what club that you're from in the chat for me, just so that I have kind of a list. And Victoria, is there anything else that you can think of um, that the Aggie moms could do to like help get the message out for you guys any more than I just think it's really important because I didn't know, and you'll hear me say, the girls hear me say it, you don't know what you don't know. And so sometimes you have to ask questions and find out. And so when I got introduced to Dr. Byrd, I was blown away by our conversation because I knew about Blinn Team, but I didn't know anything about all the rest of that. And so it was very, very enlightening. So,
Hey, can we do ag bags at Blinn? Maybe
uh,
instead of them
I don't,
coming on to CSTAT? I don't know, just an idea to throw out there.
yeah, I think those are probably things you've got to talk through within your club because you can do anything you want to in your club. And those are real club organization things or whatever. So those are final bags. They deliver final goodie bags or whatever to kids at College Station and Galveston and McAllen this year. Yay. And so, and we are doing puppy hugs in McAllen and Galveston for the first time this year as well. So we're spreading our wings. So it would be nice to be able to do it on some of the others as well. So but yeah, that's something definitely, talk to your local clubs or whatever about those ideas and things that you want to do. Because if you want to volunteer and do them, I don't know why anybody would have a problem with that. So anything else?
Well, Bella and I would love to do the puppy kisses, and I am officially retiring in April. So I would like to be an ambassador and do a lot more things. And Bella and
Oh,
I are going to be up at CSAT a lot.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
definitely let us know, and congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Nancy, do you want to unmute and ask me your question? Because I don't understand. It says something about
Thanks for
district.
setting this up. This was truly amazing and such an eye opener. And we need to have this jointness with all Aggies. So this is just truly amazing. And I learned a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Well, if not, then um I guess we'll sign off. And if anybody has anything, y'all know where to find me. And again, thank you, Jimmy, and thank you, Victoria, so much. Enjoyed it, and we'll be in touch. I think we're on to something. So I did record this, so we will actually get the recording out to anybody that asked for it from the Aggie Moms Clubs. We have district meetings and stuff that are going on as well, and so we can let them know then, where to find it on our website once we post it. But thank you so much for all your information and for putting your program together tonight, because that is exactly what I wanted, was people just to understand that it really is like we're family. It's like brothers, it's like the little brother campus to A&M is how I look at it. And so we really are. It's like family, and the way that they're working to get these kids to succeed is just amazing. And so thank you for what y'all do.
Oh, thank you guys so much. I was very excited. So I appreciate it. And if y'all have questions, I'm pretty easy to find. First dot last name. So victoria.fowler@blinn.edu. So thank y'all.
Awesome. And I'll put that out on when we post it or whatever for everybody. So, okay. Well, thanks, girls. Take care. All right. So y'all are welcome to fall off whenever you want to. Victoria, thank you again so much. And I look forward to maybe stopping by when I'm in town
Yeah,
sometime and just kind of I want to see that new admin building. Are you in that building?
I'm not in that building, but it is beautiful. I'll
It
tell you.
is gorgeous.
And then I had goosebumps when you were talking about the dogs. I actually have a service dog for myself,
Oh,
not an
yeah.
emotional support, but my husband, he's a principal at a school, and they got emotional support dogs because there was such a change in student behavior if an issue is going on. So they have one that stays in the office, and yeah, it's amazing. So I have goosebumps again, just so that's wonderful.
Aw.
Thanks for sharing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I got